Oh, good morning. Oh, good night's sleep. Always good to have a good night's sleep. My thought for today, well, where shall I start my thought for the day? Shall I start here in Ballywag? Shall I start here at the airport? Shall I start here in downtown Bangkok? Or shall I start today with the thought for the day? There could be so many. Well, by now, I think you have a hint as to where I've been for the last day and a half. Yes, I went on a holiday. I went on a holiday, what we would commonly refer to as the visa run. For many of you who are on tourist visas, there's an anniversary that we look forward to, some maybe don't. But for me, I looked forward to it because it represents the reset of one's 3-year period here in the Philippines. And clearly, at 77, it's a monumental task to get your head around, leaving the country, going overseas, finding accommodation, getting around, working out where and how to fill one's time in. But I did okay. I flew out late at night on Tuesday evening here in the Philippines. I caught a very late night flight and I arrived at what was local time, 2 o'clock in the morning. And one thing about arriving in another country at the early hours is that you think, well, I'll just hop on a bus or I'll hop on a train or a shuttle and I'll go to my hotel. But of course, number one, a lot of hotels or so-called sleeping homes are not available at that time of the morning. So one has to wait for a more leisurely check-in time. So for myself, I got on a train thinking, I'll go down to the station below the airport in Bangkok. And unfortunately, the trains don't start till 6 a.m., literally, nor do the buses. Strange, but we're in a different country now. And when it did happen, finally, I went to the city centre, right in the hustle and bustle of downtown Bangkok. Please don't ask me the name of the station, but I think it's number 8 on the rapid rail. My first impressions of jumping on a train in Bangkok was, is my hearing aid working? Or am I just in a dreamland? Because the first thing I noticed is nobody talks on the train. Maybe we're all jet lagged from arrival. Or maybe it's my hearing aid has decided to go on the blink. No. It's one of those trains that floats on a magnet. Therefore, it is quiet. Initially, I thought maybe they have rubber wheels. But it's so quiet, so smooth, so orderly. And that's my first impression of Thailand after living 10 years in the Philippines. How quiet, how orderly. No dogs. No cock-a-doodle-doos. No occasional dead cats on the road. But nothing but paving like in the UK. 1 foot by 1 foot square concrete pavers on the footpath. You can't trip over very easily, even though you use your common sense, look down always. But the next thing I notice "Where's all the spaghetti gone?" he said. "No, we're not talking about Jollibee. Most of the power cables in the main parts of the road, the main bits that people see every day, are all underground. Do they live in a region that's so different from that of the Philippines? I don't think so. What they do is they make Bangkok, especially, a place to be proud of. After all, it's the capital. When you think of Manila, myself, I think of hustle and bustle. I think of movement, every man and his dog out there making a living. The homes and the buildings around, regardless of what road you go in, unless you're in Makati or BCG, always appear like they're held together with an elastic band or a bit of sticky tape. I didn't see that in Thailand, not in the short period of one day in Bangkok. But what I did see is a certain amount of order, a certain amount of pride, a certain amount of, I suppose, mindset that we don't have to live surrounded by garbage. One is always thankful that the rest of the world has that as an attribute to life itself. And one wonders why, when there is an abundance of people here in the Philippines, why the pride in one's barangay, why the pride of one's town is not openly displayed by all of those that use. During my period in the Philippines, I've also noticed that our current president here, Marcos, and her family, who've obviously been a dynasty here in the Philippines for many, many decades. If you travel to their home area, their home tour, you'll notice a certain amount of pride, maintenance, care in their area. And everybody in the community benefits. But here in Manila, there's so many chiefs in the wigwam, so to speak, so interested in becoming chief over the next chief, over the next chief, that they don't seem to notice what they're living in. Chaos, untidiness, lack of pride and self-esteem, which cost us nothing. But they haven't quite grasped that, yes, sometimes you need to make laws and stick to them. If you're here in Baliwag, as an example, in the region of Bulacan, the first thing you will notice is hardly anybody wears a crash helmet on their motorbike. Why is that? Are the laws different here? No. Why is it that in Manila proper, everybody has a helmet? If you don't, you get a fine. You might get your motorbike seized. You certainly will get a ticket. But here in Baliwag, nothing is enforced, it seems. Now to me that could be, well, they're a little bit more relaxed. But can we afford to be relaxed with simple pleasures like trying to stay alive, trying to avoid being killed? Of course, if you get run over by a jeepney and squashed, there's less likelihood of your survival, whether or not you have a proper recognized helmet or one that is a copy that crumbles at the first impact. But we still need to remember that pride begins at home as well. Collecting one's rubbish, keeping one's garden tidy, keeping one's surroundings free of debris, is all about being personally responsible. And I think that after one day in Thailand, or one day and a bit, It's opened my eyes to what we've become accustomed to. The general reaction when I got back last night was, oh my goodness, welcome home. Back to all of the things that we've just taken for granted. All the things that we hear foreigners talking about. Lack of infrastructure, lack of this, lack of that. Now, it's not me pointing out the obvious, but it is nevertheless important that we try and promote a certain amount of self-discipline too, because maybe some people will notice us picking up our rubbish, putting it in our pocket, waiting for an opportunity to put it away in a safe place. When you fly into Bangkok, of course, you can't do that at 2 o'clock in the morning, but in the daytime, when you're up above on one of these rapid rails, you look down on the suburbs approaching the city, and you realize how organized it is. It's like being in Britain, or England as they call it, and going over to Germany and realizing that Germany, Austria have that same etiquette. Everything has its place. Untidiness does not fit into the idea of being German or Austrian. I think as soon as the Philippines wakes up to the reality that it will get more people here if it spent the effort to make proper footpaths, ones that you don't bump into a power pole, or that the person who owns a business has managed to creep across the footpath, so you have to step out onto the dangerous highway to avoid tripping over their stop. Until those fundamentals are addressed here in the Philippines, they take action, not money, action. After all, officials are paid to be official, as pain in the ass as it might seem. That's their job. They get paid to do it. So they should learn to enforce, not to turn blind eyes and allow a streetscape to look like Bangladesh every day, when if it enforced the idea that we Filipino, we proud foreigners who now call it our home, also take pride in keeping our little bit of the Philippines in order, tidy, organized. Maybe the neighbors will do the same, and then their neighbors, and their neighbors. And then we'll start to feel like we have pride in being in the Philippines. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe. And I can tell you I've got lots to tell you, so stay tuned. Bye now.